Hello and welcome back to Barkaways. As you can see, today we're off site. We've come to Brooklands, the Brooklands Museum, one of my favourite places to come to. It's the historical heart of motorsport in the UK. It was the first track that was built way back in 1907, I think. The history of this place goes back. It's a fantastic place, and the fact that it's now been brought back to life and there's some heritage funding and some lottery funding that really invests in this place, and there's a whole team of enthusiasts that keep it going, which is absolutely brilliant, which is why it's such a special place. You've got a fantastic museum with all sorts of cars and stuff here. One of the things I love about this place is the history that, this place has supported England and Britain through 2 world wars. It's been the backbone of industry, innovation and design. We've got a Concorde outside, which we all have a Concorde. AC Cars was based here. The Vickers Aeroplane Company was based here. And the ingenuity, the design that went on, these people designed these cars, built these cars, the skills that were involved, which is why we're here today. The other bit I love that is really quirky about this, you could see, like, we've got 3 big cars here. These are the well-known Napier Railton, but these are aero engine powered cars. So you can see how it evolved. You've got the aeroplane people over one side, you've got the car people over the other, you've got the test track going around the outside. You can see that one day one of the car guys walked into the aeroplane shed, saw a 27-litre engine and thought, I've got an idea, let's put one of those on one of our chassis and make a race car, and then we can go around the track. And you can see how it evolved, which is why these huge, massive 27-litre engines are in these cars. And being an enthusiast and a mechanic, you can just see how those conversations evolved over a cup of coffee way back in the day. So looking at the skills, we were just mentioning the skills that existed in these places. An example of the early, there's a Riley Special here, which is an early car that raced here. You could see when they were making the aeroplanes, it was all hand-beaten, hand-rolled aluminium bodies, which then went onto the chassis. So there was a real good correlation between the aeroplane guys and the car guys that just made this industry happen. This comes up to another level of finish now. There's skills and there's real skills. If you can hand roll an aluminium body to this level, and where all the joins of the welds are and you can't see it, obviously on something that's painted you've got a bit of poetic license to cover it up, but on something like this is real master craftsman era. So that's a quick look around Brooklands, and I must say, if any of you get the chance to come over here, it's an absolutely fabulous place. You've got to come and see this place. If you've got the slightest interest in cars or heritage and what makes the industry so spectacular today, you've got to come and see this place. So the reason we've come here today is to one of our apprentices, Tom, is at the Heritage Skills Academy, which is based at Brooklands. There's two skills academies. One's here at Brooklands and one's over at Bicester Heritage. So we've come to Brooklands today, so let's go over and see what Tom and the guys are up to at the academy. Okay, so here we are inside the Heritage Academy with Tom, our apprentice, that you all know, but we thought it would be good to come and see why the Heritage Academy is so special. So we've got Paul, the tutor, who looks after Tom. What would you say the benefits are of what you do here compared with normal college? There's a real difference here, isn't there?
I suppose the main advantage would be that we're set up for older cars, the type of cars that Tom will be working on, and all the other apprentices. Whereas if you were to go to an all further education, you'll be working on more modern cars. Yeah. And then we've got the added advantage of being here at Brooklands, where we help them, they help us. The total environment thing is important to us and the apprentices.
I think it's great. We were outside earlier. No, the history here is fantastic, and it's great. And at Barkaways we do a lot of restoring old cars, which is why Tom's so enthusiastic. This is the guy that turned up for his interview in a Triumph Herald. Yep. So he's got my attention. Things like that. So it's great that you guys have put this together to make it different.
We work with Brooklands, we've got some of Brooklands cars in here to have some bit of maintenance done.
Yeah.
So we scratch their back, they scratch ours. So it's nice. We can't always have the exact cars that you may want, but no. I can speak to the museum and they'll bring cars over. We've had a £6 million Bentley in here just to check the steering over.
And it's great that someone's got to keep these old cars going. It's what we're all about.
Exactly.
And it's coming over to more the metalwork side with Grace that we've got like the English wheel stuff going on here. In my world, getting cars done, I've only got like 2 guys that do my English wheeling. Yeah. So teaching the guys how to do the welding, the English wheeling is a real craft that we've got to preserve, we've got to keep going.
Definitely, because it's not just the mechanical parts of vehicles that will deteriorate over time. Their bodywork and their chassis will also do that. So having young people or apprentices coming through to learn those skills is really important as well.
It's brilliant, and it's going to move the industry forward, because there's less and less of people out there in our world that can do this stuff. So we've got to preserve it.
Yeah, definitely.
Owen, you're the link between Tom and us and these guys. You come down to us, you've seen us, you've seen Tom and his environment, and you're the sort of link to the... There's obviously the academic side of this, making sure the guys are on track with their various skills, and the academic side of bits and pieces that need doing. And I know you spend a lot of time going through with Tom on all his homework, and which I know he enjoys.
Yeah. There is unfortunately actually an academic aspect to this job. So they have to aim for an endpoint assessment to get a qualification. So it's quite an arduous journey for them.
Yeah.
I'm in the game simply because this has come about. We sat down with a Trailblazer group a couple of years ago to try and see where the market was for historic car restoration, and this is what the culmination of really what that happened. A lot of people are really interested in maintaining the skills that have been built up in this country.
It is, and you've only got to look at things like Goodwood and the Silverstone Festival. It's a colossal industry, but there's less and less Toms. I mean, the guys around here today, they're few and far between, so we've got to capture them and value them. Otherwise, the industry will just fizzle out. So we'll have a wander around here today, and Tom's going to show us around some of the stuff that he's been up to. So this is one of the projects that Tom's been working on. This is a Spitfire chassis, the car, not the aeroplane. So, but it's an example of, before you can go on to the more advanced cars, you've got to understand the basics of how basic, simple cars work.
So I've done the front suspension here. So the car came into us, it was just an old rusty car. So we came in, took the suspension all apart, redid the springs, painted it all, everything, new bushes, it's had new bolts, new ball joints, bottom, trunnion, everything, even the hub bearings. Most recently I fitted new calipers on it because the old ones wouldn't suffice at all. So it's got that, new flexes going on. I've just got to make up the brackets to attach the flexes onto the car. I've also helped with reassembling the rear suspension as well, but most notably at the moment I'm currently making up some brake pipes for it because we haven't got any. So this is the fixed line from the wheel cylinder in the drum brake, which then goes onto the flexi. The flexi then mounts onto the chassis and then back onto fixed pipe, which is later to be made.
So I think this is great coming back to these sort of things. This is sort of where I came in on cars, but it is all about learning the basics. I mean, this is a basic chassis car with leaf spring suspension, drum brakes. Engine-wise, it's a very simple ignition setup. We've got twin carbs on this. So by learning all these basics, it's all relevant to what we do back at Barkaways on the sort of 50s and 60s cars. Okay, we've got more cylinders and more carbs and more stuff, but it's a similar genre of stuff that we work on. And you've got to understand the simplicity of these before you go on to the bigger stuff. And then as cars evolve, they went on to the monocoque design, and obviously if you can understand how fundamentals of an engine work now, when it's got electronic ignition and fuel injection and computers running it, it's still an engine, it's still got pistons in, so it's all about the basics. So here's something that's a bit more complete than the chassis. Yeah. So it's good that you've got complete cars that you can work on and you can actually tune, put into tune, out of tune, and adjust. Exactly. So what other sort of cars or running rigs have you got here? Obviously you've got the Morris.
So we've got a Morris 1000, we've got a few Morris miners here. We've got two Saab 900s, which are good. We've also got a Ford Capri, which is the 2 litre Pinto in it. Yeah. Single carb, so that's good for tuning and mucking around purposes. MX-5, but that's more electronic ignition again.
Bringing you into the later era,
but you can still set faults on it and then you can figure them out. So what we like to do is we put faults on cars and then get another apprentice to go and try and find the faults and do fault finding.
Oh, so that's a good one. So you can set faults up for your colleagues and see who can find...
Exactly, so really muck around with them,
that's good.
Is great. So,
Brilliant. So here we are around in the body shop side of things. There's lots of English wheeling and pipe bending going on. And this looks like an interesting project that's come in, so I'm going to hand you over to Tom so he can talk us through what he knows about this one.
So this is a sunbeam drop head that was in an accident a while back. We put them on jigs, straighten out as well, which is also taught for the body shop side of stuff. So as you can see, the front end's quite badly crumpled in, and they'll pull it all straight and then fill over, sand down, and get it back to what it should really be looking like.
Okay, so this looks a bit different. This looks like something we've all had as a kid. This looks like a sort of frame or a chassis with an engine on the back and some sort of bike wheels and a steering wheel. A bit more sophisticated than the bits of wood we know and pram wheels. So what's the story with this one, Tom?
So it's just a go-kart we take around the museum so often just to show off what we do. Coachwork are going to be making a body for it for next week, which is good. They've had a few bodies on it in the past, which is really good for them because it means they can size up, get it to the right shape, and they normally do it to about a scale of about 1/8 or so.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, it's really good.
So it's good for panel beaches. They can English wheel up a body for it.
Yeah.
But it does work, and you guys can go out and have a whiz round Brooklands in here for a bit of fun.
The finishing straight in, so yeah.
So we've just spotted something in the corner that's familiar to us. Obviously we've got a butt from a 246 Dino, which is brilliant. Just talking to the guys, they used to make XK120 wings, but now they're starting to make Ferrari Dino wings because it's a great way of, it's got curves going all the way, so it's quite a challenging panel to make, which is good to learn on.
Right. So that's an aluminium panel that the Coachwork builder guys here have made on the back, which is, as you can see, fits like a glove.
I think the clever bit on these is why Dinos are so hard to do. We know at Barkaways we've had a lot of these over the years. Is the multiple curves of the panels. It's not only going that way, it's going that way, and then you've got the join. So obviously you can't roll that out of one solid piece of metal. So it's got a join here, join there, and when it comes to the bottom, this is a crucial bit on a Dino, the scoop up here and across to the front. So these are very complicated panels to make. Okay, so here we are back at Barkaways. Tom's back with us again after his stint down at the Heritage Academy. For me, you can see this is our workshop, though it's very busy, but we've got a diverse collection of cars here. We've got cars from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right up to the later cars. So we need people that have got the skills to work on these cars. And it is getting the right people. And I mentioned earlier, when Tom turned up for his interview in a Triumph Herald, you've either got this passion or you haven't. There's lots of people that want to go into cars and want to go into racing or whatever, but for this sort of world, I've been doing it since I left school in 1979, and I've been very fortunate to have a career of everything to do with the cars I've very much enjoyed doing. But for now, it's for me to empty my 50 years of experience into Tom's head. He's just been doing this boxer. There's a boxer here, flat 12, that he's just had the engine out and done cam belts. There's another boxer over there that he's involved with. But coaching these guys going forwards and getting the information, because these are the guys that are going to be looking after your cars in the future. So it's all about investing in the future. We've had 3 apprentices. Tom's number 2. We've got Dan, who's number 3, that is currently away at the Heritage Skills Academy. So we're very passionate about investing in the future, teaching them the skills and knowledge they know, I say ultimately to do a job that they love and keep your cars going in the future. So Tom's now coming to the end of his Heritage Skills Academy apprenticeship. So next time you're over at Barkaways, come and see us, have a chat with Tom. I'm sure he'll be pleased to tell you of all the things he's learned.